Hello, everyone. We are the Something Art Club. I'm Ryan. We have Joe and Sam with us. And this week we have our new member, Dan.
Hey.
Who, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, is in a very sexy Adidas top.
You're so hot for it, Ryan.
Oh, I know. It doesn't take much, honestly.
According to our auto censor technology, is very rude.
Is
according
it?
to what's being blurred. Yeah, look at it.
Oh, maybe it's like...
I just said.
Oh,
maybe
okay.
Like an ass.
No, leave it.
Okay, then.
The authentic experience.
Fair enough. This week we watched a film that I chose, City of Lost Children, or the French title La Cité des Enfants Perdus.
Culture bitch.
What can I say? This film is directed by Marc Caro and Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who were the team behind Delicatessen, and Jean-Pierre Jeunet did Amélie. I picked this film because I really enjoyed Amélie and Delicatessen when I watched them.
Big fan of Amélie.
I'm a big fan of Amélie, yeah. And I think the colour palette... Yeah, this film wasn't up on the par of those two. I don't know if you've seen Delicatessen before.
I have not.
Delicatessen was fantastic. This one was fantastic, to be honest.
Sam, I think you're going to be like... I
feel like I'm going to be fighting in this film's corner.
Well,
when I was watching it, I knew that you would like it, Sam, and that's how I knew I'd hate it.
What I found weird, because if someone were to describe this film on paper, I would say it sounds like everything I enjoy in a film.
Yes, exactly.
I liked to look at it. I thought there were lots of really cool things about it, but I felt nothing from the story.
100%.
It took me like 30 or 40 minutes to get into it. I kind of hated it to begin with. And I was like, what the fuck? Then I just kind of rolled with it, really.
I thought I agree with Dan when he said that when I was watching it, I knew Sam would like it, because I think there's a lot of like underlying potential theories and things.
That's the other thing. I felt like I'm watching this, but I don't think I understand what's going on behind it, and I can't appreciate it.
I properly read the point of it, and I think it there was a thing about it being explained how it's like a...
It's a spoilers.
Do you want to do it after we do all of what we think it's about as well?
Okay, well, I don't know what I thought it was about, because I honestly thought it was just mumble. What annoyed me the most about it is that I really like the style, and I really like how it looked. It's the whole city and everything. I was like, I was just that's what kept me going for, I think, the most part at the beginning. Definitely. And then I found it really hard not to look at Instagram on my phone while watching it in the background.
Oh no!
Oh man!
I feel bad because I picked it.
I looked at some what people had said about it, and quite a few people said that the way that they depicted this almost steampunk,
steampunk,
post-apocalyptic French city kind of thing. It could have been in the Fallout universe, and this is just what happened to France or something.
Yeah, the Cyclops people really feel like that. That's what they're called, right?
You know, you know the guy directed Alien 2?
Alien 3.
Alien 3.
Okay,
Alien
2.
Yeah, it was Alien Resurrection, I think. I think actually they worked together, Marc Caro and Jean-Pierre Jeunet, on Delicatessen and this film, but then when they went to do Alien 3, Marc Caro didn't want to go mainstream, so Jean-Pierre Jeunet then split up from him, and then he did Amélie on his own after that.
Huh.
Yeah.
His Resurrection had the guy who played the quadruplets in this, and Norman in it.
I haven't seen Resurrection.
I don't think I want to, but I think that guy is in
a complicated film.
Yeah, I know. I know what happens in it. I don't think I've got the stomach. But the guy, there's a guy in it that's loads of clones. I think he's in all of their films. I think he's in Amélie. I think he's in The Shop, isn't he?
I found that aspect, I was amazed by how well they did the cloning. There's a shot where, because there's 4 guys played by one guy, and that's not a spoiler.
5 guys technically.
That's a spoiler.
Wait, they're not different actors. It's the same guy.
Same guy. And like, there's a scene where they're playing a board game together and like interacting with the pieces on the board with each other in real time. And
That was really
amazing.
Really
cool.
Like the whole cinematography for this film is on point.
That's one thing I know. Like the choreography of some of the sequences. Like there's a sequence where there's a lady who has like two bodies and is cooking. And
I love
their limbs
hands.
are like perfectly interacting with each other, and like she itches herself, and like they add seasoning, and that was like so well done.
It was like a dance,
That's what I mean. I said like I think I noted like the choreography was really good because it was like a dance. It was so sick, that bit.
I'd say like the actual way it's shot and it's like presented is quite timeless in a way. It didn't feel very like dated to a 90s film.
I think that's because it was so unique.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to date something when you can't really compare it with a lot of stuff.
I just want to like throw out to like the costume design in it though. Like I was obsessed with all the outfits. Like 100% was like, I think there's like one. What's the main character called?
One, I think.
One. And it's like a jumper. Like, and I think it's got like the stitch. I don't know why I was like so obsessed with it.
I actually had a question about the colors in the film. Like they kind of use the same color palette in all the films they do, but there's a lot of greens and browns and reds.
Green, the green filter kind of.
I don't know if there's a reason, but
I
know like it was a game for the Xbox 360.
I noticed that green was bad generally in this film. The more green something was, or the more that the green was picked up on. Like
the little girl was wearing red.
Like you had that liquid with the flea and the entire ocean.
The dream as well in the bottle was green, I think. It was going around the like town, like to the mist. Do you know the bit I mean?
Oh yeah.
Did any of you find that this is like a bit of a complete change of subject, but some of the cuts were really, I don't know if it was like the edition I watched or something, but some of the like cuts between scenes was really weird.
The music kind of died. Is that when?
No, like just in terms of plot, like one thing would happen and then the next scene would like advance the story beyond. I'm thinking of a bit more at the end where like a certain event happens and then the little girl's just kind of cool with it because in the next scene she's like doing something completely different. And there was like another bit, I should have written it down, but it was like in the beginning and it felt the same. It was just like suggestions of something happening and then the next scene you were like it was quite jarring. Like I don't know if anyone else picked up on that, or maybe that was because I was losing interest.
Yeah, I certainly found myself not knowing how I got to where it was at a couple of points. But again, I was probably looking at my phone.
I don't think I was at that point. Like because I'm more thinking of it right at the very end. I don't want to do spoilers. I've already almost done it once, but
no, I know. I don't know why it felt so long though. Because I agree with you.
Oh God, it was exhausting.
It did feel like a long film.
2 hours.
That's just standard though.
It's 2 hours and a lot. You had to infer a lot about the world. Like it didn't hold your hand at all with it. It was just like, this is happening. This guy wants these kids. They never really explicitly say why he wants the kids, do they?
Yeah.
Because I had to think about that afterwards. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That's kind of part of my crazy, like, this week's red line, me go down with the cigarette in my mouth theory. Kinda.
The thing with the reason why behind like the events in the film, I think is literally in a sentence, or like it's said once, maybe at the end or at the beginning, but I only like knew about it because I'd read the kind of synopsis or whatever.
There's like a sentence spoken at the beginning, which I was like, that sounds significant, but I can't remember it.
And I think at the end it says it's like it does like a retrospective of like after all the events have happened, and it's like because of this and this happened because of that. And it like kind of fills in the reason why, but at that point the ship had already sailed and I was pretty much over
literally.
What version did you watch? I don't think I saw that.
It's at the end. I rented it off Amazon.
So did I, but I don't recall that.
At the end, I swear. I mean, you guys watched it like last night or today, so I watched it.
Yeah, me and Dan watched it quite a while ago.
So the order of events
a few hours ago.
I swear at the end, when things have happened, there's like a monologue of. Is there not? Or maybe that's because I read about the film as soon as I finished it.
It's just your internal monologue.
My internal monologue. There's definitely like when the plot twist happens and certain things are remembered. There's like explanation there. I remember that.
Was this monologue in a rather nasal Bristolian voice?
Maybe.
I feel attacked. Fuck's sake. But no, I feel really bad though because I kind of picked this film and apart from Sam, everyone else like had to struggle through it.
When I read about it, sorry,
to have because so far we've all kind of really enjoyed the films.
Yeah, it's good
to actually have some two-sided discussion about it.
Yeah,
I
definitely
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think visually stunning. Like music was great. The music was by the guy that does the music for Twin Peaks. So I was like, Angelo Badalamenti, living. Right, that was great.
Also, Ron Perlman didn't know French when he was filming this. So he just learned his lines verbatim.
That kind of plays into his character though, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a bit simple, isn't it?
Oh, you can't say that.
Oh, I didn't mean it in a horrible way. I mean... Well, I mean,
go on, dig the hole.
I'm just gonna stop.
I will say
he's not particularly, to quote Hermione Granger, like loquacious. Do you know what I mean? He's a more physical being.
Yeah, you get the impression that for whatever reason, like he wasn't a strong speaker. He had a small vocabulary.
Mm.
Yeah,
he was really endearing. His body language and stuff was
like I loved the characters, and I thought everyone played them so well.
The little boy with just burping, he was great. Yeah. He was the best.
Wasn't a fan of that. Burping's rude.
Little brother.
Why do we get on, Sam? Why do we get on?
Oh man.
No, I just don't like kids burping, I guess.
I haven't.
That's so random.
Let's delve into that.
When's the spoiler zone hit?
5 minutes.
15 minutes on it.
Nope.
No, not yet. Don't worry.
We've got 5 minutes.
I want to talk about this first scene, right? So they start with the first shot on this creepy looking snowman outside.
Oh yeah.
And they have this creepy little like Christmas doll thing just smashing cymbals together.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have that iconic scene with, I say iconic, but you guys hated the film.
No, I thought it was...
hardly anyone's seen it.
I didn't hate the film.
Multiple Santas. It sounds like you hated it.
The Santas were scary as fuck at the start.
But I loved what they did with the camera in that.
Yeah.
In all of the dream sequences, like, just that wavy effect. And it kind of really, like, a lot of people don't use that. And I think it could be used in way more films to give, like, an impression of that weird wavy fear that you feel as a kid.
Yeah. I think
one thing I did think about is how many kids were like subject to horrific imagery in this film.
Yeah.
There's that scene like halfway through where a guy dresses up as Santa Claus and just makes a bunch of kids cry with fear. Like, fucking hell.
What happens to the kids after? Like, obviously we'll spoil that in a minute, but they kind of, are they kept where they are, or are they taken away? Or
I don't even know if it was.
I think they're just repetitively abused.
It's the same kids, is it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But what's interesting is, sorry, just before I forget, both of them were former animators. One of them, Mark Caro, was a cartoonist, and I think that a lot of that.
That's really interesting, because then that kind of comes through in the choreography of it.
Yeah, like, it's like slapstick and surreal. And,
and like directors necessarily don't always come from a point of view of thinking about every limb movement and stuff, whereas I guess an animator absolutely would.
Yeah. So I thought that was worth noting down. And Mark Caro, actually, one of the directors, he played one of the Cyclops in the film.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. Fuck me. What is that?
Nothing. Ignore that.
I felt like some of the things were a bit out of place in some sense. Though, like the Cyclops were awesome, but I felt like were so weird in that film. Like they almost were just like an idea that got wedged in.
I think they represent something in specific.
Yeah. I've got a question for you guys.
Like there was so much stuff. I was like, I don't see the place of this in this film, but I'm sure it represents something I don't understand.
So like
that's one of the beautiful things about how cohesive the world was, really. In that, like there were so many, like that world seemed really believable in how much stuff they had put in, like and how many different things you had like layered on top of each other, like you would in a weird post-apocalyptic city like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a question about the Cyclops, and I'm going to have to wait for, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute?
I'm really excited to discuss my favourite scene in the whole film.
I think we got the same favourite scene. Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
Am I timing the spoil? Oh, sorry.
No, I've got an alarm on.
Okay.
There's a scene, and that is epic, and I don't know if it's the same one. Like,
it was very dark. Like,
maybe not then.
Is it spoiler zone territory or not?
That's why I'm waiting to like. Say about it.
Right.
I just really liked it because I've never like. I don't know. I thought it was awesome. It was like my favorite bit of the whole film, which maybe
I don't know which bit you're on about.
Maybe you were looking at your phone at that point.
Ooh,
I didn't look at my phone. I didn't look at my phone for longer than 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, I was the same. I'm digging, but like, I was definitely in the same boat.
I remember I did feel like, I kept looking at the time a little bit, but I did try and just commit, but it was so confusing that it just didn't grab me completely.
I watched it in 2 parts, like Joe did.
Yeah.
I just got out of the way.
It got exhausting.
Did you guys? There was like a couple bits where I kept noticing like references to 3 Blind Mice. No.
With the Cyclops.
Well, in the first scene, there's well, not in the first scene. You know where they go to like the crowd of people and there's a strong man.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bit where there's the guy like preaching about being blind.
Yeah, this blind bit is something I need to talk about.
And then past the camera walk 3 blind guys all like holding each other's arm, and I was like, oh, it's 3 blind mice. And then there's a scene where there's water rushing through a bit, and like 3 mice come out on like a tray and then like disappear for no reason. So I was like, oh, what? That must mean something.
But what's the nursery rhyme? I can't even think if there's any relevance in that.
Mice, 3 blind mice. I don't know the rest.
See how they run.
I was about to come in with hot cross buns. I was going to one.
Spoilers!
It's the spoiler zone, see? Get ready for some spoilers, you hear?
Is it?
Okay, so say shit now.
So what we now try and do after the spoiler zone alert is give a roundup of the plot.
Yeah, so people can just grasp. So basically...
Spoilers, there wasn't any.
There was a bit. So there's a weird oil rig in the ocean where there's a scientist, and he captures children to steal their dreams because he's aging prematurely because he can't dream. And he hires the Cyclops people, who are just people like child snatchers on the street, to take kids to him.
Who are blind.
And in return of the kids, he gives them eyes and shit.
Yeah. He gives them like eyepieces that they can view using sound?
Yeah, because they're really sensitive to sound. If anyone like crunches an apple or something, they're like...
I found that fucking funny, that bit.
It was, I know, it was great.
Where one of the henchmen was like opening the case and was like...
Yeah, it was great.
You can.
And then one of the little boys gets nicked, and it's the brother of this strong man who teams up with a little girl who... It's really convoluted me explaining it. Who is part of a gang of pickpockets run by a Siamese... That's probably not the right conjoined twin who's called the Octopus.
Was it? I missed that.
Yeah, she's called. They call her the Octopus.
Yeah.
The kids do anyway.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they use the kids to bring them money and stuff. Where am I going next?
Keep going.
And the they hire the little kids. Get the strong man to help them get a safe for the octopus, but it all goes wrong, and then someone help me.
Sam, take over.
So
Jesus,
there's so much that happens. It's such a dense film.
I got it right. So there's a weird bloke who has fleas, which have a weird... he has trained
the circus
fleas.
Master?
Yeah, he's a circus master with trained fleas.
Is
and
he?
these fleas can inject a fluid into the brain, which makes you aggressive.
But the green.
And it's green again.
Sound.
Yeah, and sound as well. They
Triggered by
play
a song, yeah.
a strange little windy organ.
Yeah,
to
a
make the
music
fleas.
box that somehow sounds like an organ. That pissed me off.
Yeah, that was strange. And
It's
the flea,
steampunk,
what does the flea even, who does he eat first? So the flea injects...
It's one of the Cyclops first, because it saves them from being drowned.
Yeah, because one and is it Miet is going to be executed in the most convoluted way possible.
Yeah,
I love that execution.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
They're stood on like a plank, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're stood on planks, counterweighted by buckets of fish that they get seagulls to come and slowly eat, so that the weight dissipates and then they fall in the water.
Are we still trying to summarize the plot here?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the execution happens, and then
Miet falls down and gets taken in by an amnesiac scientist in a submarine.
Who we haven't mentioned the 4 guys who look the same and the mother.
Martha is just a creation, I think.
Yeah,
but she's made to be a mother for the family.
They call her mum.
Yeah,
I think, but I don't think it's like biological mother.
And there's the fucking computer with a brain.
There's a brain in a tank. Yeah.
Migraines.
So right, okay, let's set that oil rig up a bit, right? So you've got a mad scientist who steals kids' dreams because he ages because he can't dream. Then you've got a little person called Martha who looks like the Bride of Frankenstein.
An actor who has dwarfism.
Yes. You've got a brain in a tank who's called Irvin, I think, and he is like the intelligent one. And you've got 4 clones who are running around the gaff. And Jesus, this film's hard to explain.
Irvin's kind of playing them all against each other, isn't he?
The brain wants
trying to get out.
He wants the creator of all of them to find them so that he can destroy them all, because he knows that they are doing diabolical things to children. Mm-hmm. And then it turns out that creator is the guy that picks up Miet in the submarine, who is the original clone.
Oh, my favorite shot.
Say that the brain is the heart.
Oh, go on, Sam.
My favorite shot of the entire film is that shot of the guy in the submarine walking along the seabed with pulling loads of shit behind him. I just thought that shot was amazing.
That is nice.
But anyway.
So he remembers who he is, because he's forgotten who he is because he was pushed off. I'm just, oh my God. So the scientist and the lady with dwarfism, Martha, throw him off the oil rig because I don't know why they even do that. Why did they throw him off?
He was doing something.
Wasn't it that he was going to stop whatever they were doing? I actually...
And he attacked the scientist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they throw him overboard and he forgets who he is.
Glass him?
Yeah.
Can you blame him, Dad?
A conical flask or something.
I was paying more attention than I thought.
Yeah.
And there's like a cult of blind people who make themselves blind, who are trying to spread blindness.
Blind fascists.
I need an explanation. I actually circled this on my notepad. They were like, renounce your sight for a better world.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't get what the fuck they were meaning by that.
So you can't see capitalism, Ryan.
Is that what it is?
So fascists, that would make no sense.
Oh, I don't. Yeah. I just didn't get it because they were. I don't know. Their world wasn't better through their eyes because it was shit quality.
So in
digital
the end,
eyes.
They go and get one's brother back. The original guy who had amnesia straps himself to it like the oil rig with a bunch of dynamite, and then has an epiphany and regrets his decision.
I think he was just a bit mad and a bit like, what?
He remembers at that point. That's why he doesn't remember who he properly is until he's like strapped. All he knows is that he wants to destroy the rig.
Yeah, and then
as they're
go ahead.
As they're like sailing away, he like remembers. What is it? Like a bit of paper.
Yeah, there's paper falling down, and he catches one, and it's got like a scientific equation on. And he looks at it, and he's like, "Oh shit, I made this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he remembers.
And is it a seagull? Yeah.
Didn't he? When he had the beard, didn't he look weirdly like Robin Williams?
Yes.
Yeah.
I got that vibe. But we've missed the best part.
What year is it?
Oh my god, Jumanji. Yes. But the best part happens before that, when the flea bites the main guy, Ron Perlman, and he turns nasty and tries to strangle the little girl.
Yeah, and there's that whole scene of events.
Yeah, her tear causes everything, and a boat crashes into the pier. Oh, it's great.
That bit was fantastic.
That was good. I thought that was the bit you meant, Dan. I thought that was the scene that you liked.
I loved the bit where he unplugs and strangles the guy and plugs back in, so the guy sees himself being killed by the Cyclops. That was the highlight for the film.
That was good, actually. Yeah.
It was just like suddenly this horrific dark turn. It was like quite light up to that point, and then all of a sudden it was just kind of
sinister,
like all first person murder.
Oh man,
I loved the most convoluted break-in with the mouse with a magnet on its tail.
That was fantastic.
Then they had the cat scare the mouse back towards them.
It just made me think of the bit in It's Always Sunny where they keep putting cats in the wall. Try and get the cats out.
I did like that. Was very good.
Should I do my red pin board thing?
I want to fucking hear it.
All right. Give me 1 second.
So ready.
All notes, prompt myself for this. Right, so, okay. Did you notice how everyone in this film, or most people in this film at some point, was sleeping? Like a weird number of people were sleeping.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
There's lots of scenes of sleeping.
Yeah, all people falling asleep.
Yeah, no, you're right. I didn't
quite
think
like
of that.
focal scenes, like the one with Crank and what's the little girl called? Like when they're Miette, and they're like sleeping on the. That scene was weirdly long from memory.
Yeah, they specifically wrote in as well that the quadruplets have a sleeping disease like narcolepsy as well.
Funny.
Okay.
All's on the cake. That made me laugh.
Oh yeah.
You're lucky we're in spoiler zone, sunshine. So,
what, me?
Go on, sir.
So, sleep seems to be really important. So you see that the world is like pretty horrific. Everyone's got a really hard life. And when you've got a hard life, what's one of the best things that you can have? It's sleep and it's dreams, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like your one escape, really. And so I think by this scientist having these kids, he's kind of metaphorically stealing their dreams, right? And if you can think of, like, there's quite a nice, like, poetry there for how you can think that, like, kidnapping, trafficking, and then stealing the dreams of kids is kind of, like... And then you have this cult of people who aid and abet it, who have blinded themselves, perhaps blinding themselves to this horrific world that they live in, perhaps blinding themselves to the jobs that they're doing as well.
You could also argue that being blind is like being asleep all the time because you don't see anything.
Oh, nice.
Being ignorant.
Yeah, I was thinking that it was perhaps their solution to the horrific world, that they don't necessarily sleep to get better. They just blind themselves so they don't have to see it. But yeah, I like your one, Joe. It's really nice. But
yours makes more sense.
Yeah.
So, have any of you actually read like what the two authors of the film said about like what it's about?
No, I don't.
Finished
I
yet.
don't like to because I love hearing Sam. Everything.
Well, I had to because I felt like I'd wasted 2 hours of my life and I really wanted to know why I watched this film.
I'm so sorry for picking it, guys.
But then that's why we come here and discuss it because then at least it's productive.
I'd be really interested to hear that.
I've got the paragraph.
Hey, Sam's got to finish. Sam's got to finish.
Finish,
and then we can mirror it against what the director said.
So you have the octopus, who I referred to in my notes as Janus, the two-headed god of madness, trying to keep all of the kids in her mad world working for her, on all these break-ins, instead of having their dreams, really. Then I said pelican must mean something, look up seabirds, but I didn't. And then I noticed something else that's kind of an aside with the weird fascist blind guys, in that they're all men, and they seem to be really like anti-sex as well, or anti-sexual pleasure kind of thing, which made me think actually of like more modern day like fascist groups, like one that's come into prominence in the last week or so, the Proud Boys, who kind of like deny themselves sexual gratification for some like weird reason.
Because they're proud, Sam.
And you look at like the Cyclopses, and then you look at like the people who usually make up like actual fascist like gangs like this, and they're just kind of weird, dorky, pathetic guys, really.
Yeah.
Just there was all of our webcams right now.
Fuck's sake.
But yeah, I think it was sleep, really. I think it was all sleep.
It's like you say with the, like, they're blinding themselves from the world. It's like ignorance is bliss as well. Like you say, they're like turning away from what's actually happening on the oil rig and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that, really. Because I wondered, I didn't know what the sentence meant. Really, like, renounce your sight for a better world. But actually, that kind of makes a lot more sense.
Ignorance is bliss, isn't it?
Yeah, but they still can see, though. This is the thing. I don't know if that's them actually seeing, like,
they
or
see
just
through their own filter, right?
And it's green as well.
This is the thing. Green. I don't know what the significance is with green in all of his films.
Their own
green
bad filter.
Envy.
Well,
it can also represent things not being quite real or being in a dream as well. Because if you think of like the Matrix, whenever they're in the Matrix in that film, it's a green filter, but whenever they're in the real world, it's a blue.
That's because it's like digitized green coding text. That was the idea behind that.
The kind of like cyborg vision did make me think of like the Matrix. I know this is like pre-Matrix, but I was like, this is kind of like digital age.
I think they like. If I read, I probably am really wrong here, but I think the Wachowskis actually liked this film. And I don't know if it probably weren't influenced by it, but maybe I'm wrong. I think I might be thinking of Dark City actually, which is a film you guys need to watch.
I feel like I ended up on the IMDb page for The Matrix when I was reading about this film for some reason, so maybe you're right there.
Yeah, I don't know.
So what do the directors say?
Yeah,
do you want me to read the exhausting paragraph, word verbatim?
Yes.
If it's no longer than 20 lines.
Oh, God, okay. So, on the one hand, capitalism is presented as enabling self-interest and freedom, as exemplified by the freedom to produce scientific developments, in brackets, crank, pursue religious ideas, brackets, the Cyclops, and seek wealth, brackets, the octopus. On the other hand, it exposes the deplorable effects of capitalism, the exploitation of childhood, brackets, the cynical orphans of tenderness, brackets, the original scientists attacked and turned out by his own beloved creations, and of innocence, brackets, the terrified children whose dreams are stolen, while suggesting that there is no place in capitalism for originality, disinterest, duty, self-reflective analysis, and on other defining aspects of, in quotations, the human.
That's actually a good point.
I mean, it's a lot to take in one thing, but when you read it, you kind of do like think of pinnacle points in the film. And you're like, I can see that.
No, definitely. Capitalism is the death of creativity, isn't it?
It felt like a stretch. when I read it after watching it. To be honest, I know that's really like shitty thing to say because that's like what being creative is all about. You do something and you kind of you know you say you're expressing how you feel about something with that thing. But yeah, when I was reading it, I was like, I didn't really see it. But when you explained it, I was like, I can kind of see it. I don't know, it's weird.
But that's what art is. It's all about interpretation and personal meaning.
I feel like I was nearly there, yeah.
I've found myself recently, like when I was a kid, I would look at these modern art things where it's just like a square of red, and I'd be like, oh, that's fucking bullshit. I could have fucking done that. But then, like recently, I've been having like epiphanies where I'm like, but it's not about what the art is. It's about what it represents and how the artist got to this end result and what it meant to them. And the art could be said that the art itself is the act of the artist thinking of the idea and demonstrating it.
Yeah.
Is it really bad that like I internally eye rolled so much then though, and I hate that I did that?
But you just told us you couldn't hate it too much.
I know.
But I've started to like that kind of art, and there's a really good Netflix series called The Art of Design Abstract. And there's one artist on there who's all about that art is what the person feels when they experience it. So his art is all intended to try and make the person reflect on themselves. So everyone's experience of that art is going to be different because it's a personal experience.
I think that's the same for film as well.
I think it's the same for everything.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean?
Film, every film can bring. Well, you went to see The Lighthouse and all of you liked it, and I was a bit like, I don't know, like it didn't grab me immediately. But Midsummer didn't either. But Midsummer, after I've let it brew for like months, has been. When did you say it? Like last year? I finally like it.
Yeah.
So I think it just takes time, and
but that's
if it doesn't grab you, it doesn't.
Great about art as well is that it's so varied, and something someone could adamantly, violently hate could be another person's favorite thing for for reasons unrelated to each other.
You've got to give some credence to this film, considering it's like led to us discussing what art is.
I do not shit on this film at all, and there's loads of things I like about it.
Yeah, it could have fucking fooled me.
Hey,
I love Sam defending this film,
and it's not like an attack on people who like it either. I'm just saying, for me, it didn't make me feel much.
Yeah,
I agree.
But I enjoyed watching it, and there's loads of things I thought were amazing about it.
There was like particular things, I think, when we touched on it earlier, like especially the city and stuff, like there was like parts of me that like wanted to immediately go away and like make up my own story and like, I don't know, make like a fucking game or something just in this like world and basically ignore the film but like have this world and make up my own like thing. Or I could even see it like, I don't know, playing like an RPG, like tabletop RPG or something, and just playing it in that world or some shit. But
everything in the film was like
the detail
so dense with creativity.
Yeah.
Also, I noticed one beautiful little scene when what's the name of the girl? Miette,
yeah.
He calls her Crumb, which is easier.
She was in the oil rig, and there were like those weird bendy stairs.
That was so great.
Yeah. She was running back, ran down those little bendy stairs, and as she did, in time, there were like organ notes.
Each step was like an organ, wasn't it? Yeah. I remember.
Well, that's because the stairs themselves were triggering. The stairs were like an
alarm, wasn't it?
And it like they were, on an accordion you get the stretchy bit in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And that's what was under the stairs. So it was like a self-defense thing. And that's why like you heard the organ and it went to the mum in front of a fucking huge organ that we'd never seen before. And she was like, oh, someone's here.
It was weird. I did like the scene there where so the brain, Irvin, wants to bring the scientist back so he can destroy everything. So he sends like a dream in like a bottle, isn't it? And then it's sort of like it moves around the city in like a green fog, trying to like go into someone's head so they can understand what's going on. But the music with that bit was really eerie, and I don't know if you remember the kind of music for that scene, but
really atmospheric.
The music in all of it really was like kind of fairgroundy, twinkly, kind of weird. I can't even explain it.
Dreamlike.
Yeah, definitely dreamlike, childlike. Yeah. I think the music was the strongest. Music and mise en scène was the strongest part of the film. I think it was just a bit confusing for me and convoluted. But still liked it. Trying to think if I've got anything else to note.
One fact I found out about the film, which I thought was kind of cool, was that all the outfits were designed by Jean-Paul Gaultier. I don't know if I said that right.
Nice.
But
Gaultier, fair play.
Gaultier, yeah. I think he worked on other films. I might be wrong about that, with the director as well. But something I thought was cool.
No, that is cool because it definitely is like a chic. Like all the outfits are pretty. Like, her outfit's
I said
great.
This already, but I love the costumes were like really memorable for me. Like all of them, even like just all the kind of the picture Joe's on his background, like the villains and their green.
Yeah. And I feel like I need to mention that scene again in more detail with the tear. Like,
that was stunning. Yeah.
What's the name of the There's something like when you there's a name for the kind of things where you like put like a ball in a cup and it knocks over dominoes, and then there's a name for that kind of thing.
The Rube Goldberg machine.
Yeah, that.
Well done. So there's a scene like that in this film where a girl's tear like hits. What does the tear hit first?
Hits a spider web.
Yeah.
That starts a like parrot squawking, which starts a dog barking.
Doesn't the two dogs fuck in the scene?
Yeah.
That's a different scene.
That's a different scene.
That's how the flea gets around.
Yeah, that's
the flea. Yeah. But yeah, it causes like a kind of chain of events that make a ship crash into the dock and sort of save them in the end.
Yeah.
But that scene was great, and it is like he does that in a lot of his films. I think it's probably from the cartoonist background potentially, just like in Delicatessen is a bit with. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have seen it years ago though.
Do you remember the bit in the apartment where someone's playing a violin and someone's having sex in a mattress and all the noises kind of build up and there's a lot of different shit going on? But yeah, I do like his style. I just think I was comparing it to Amelie from The Off, and I shouldn't have done that. It was a bit unfair.
Oh, I was expecting it to be like Amelie, and then I think in the first 3 minutes I was like, well, forget that.
Yeah,
I've never seen Amelie or Delicatessen, and it made me not want to watch either of those films. I've always wanted to watch them.
No,
Dan, trust me, watch Amelie, definitely.
Okay.
Amelie's stunning. Amelie's amazing. It's completely different.
Sure.
Sam would love Delicatessen, like without a doubt.
I saw it. I saw it in my French lessons like
cool.
10 years ago.
Nice. I watched the first 10 minutes and something. Sorry, Sam.
Yeah, I remember thinking it was great, but I think a lot of the other kids around me didn't quite gel with it.
Oh, yeah. Story of my life throughout school.
Without a doubt.
Oh. They were just
Let's all flick our fringes in unison.
Yeah. Oh.
I have got something else written. Just one last thing. So it's about the movement of cinema at the time. Got a bit of historical context. Oh. So the late 20th century, there was a French film movement called Cinéma du Look, which was a style of cinema which praised sort of style over substance and was more visual than substance, but I just said substance. And it's a lot about aestheticism even, rather than actual kind of plot. And I think that kind of works here. I think there is a plot, but I think that the look is more important. What do you guys think?
No, I get that. Like everything feels like the logic for it is slightly off. Kind of like it's in a dream.
The tear that hits the spider web wasn't realistic enough for you.
It never is.
But this goes back to what I'm saying, because it leaves space for personal interpretation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it because of that.
Yeah. Sam, I'm not shitting on the film.
Oh, I know you're not.
I want to make that clear as well to listeners. Like, if we're criticizing something that you love, it's not because we think you are wrong. It's just because we've seen a different perspective on it.
Yeah, I'm going to have fun editing that in a minute.
I do feel bad saying, like, I openly came out and say, like, I hate it in a way, because when I talk about it, I'm like, there is definitely elements of it that I liked, but I wouldn't, like, watch it again.
Would you recommend it?
No.
I would.
And Sue too.
Yeah.
I'd recommend it, I think. But
I guess I'd have to know the person really well. Or, like, if that's really their thing.
I would recommend it to someone who was into art and cinema and looking into things and stuff like that.
I think like what's weird though is like I feel like on paper, I think you said this, like it's like a film that I would love, and I feel like I definitely like weirder, maybe zanier films than this, but for some reason I just really couldn't click into this as like a whole thing.
I would have recommended it to you, Dix, but I guess not.
I'm just glad someone actually liked it, Sam, because I felt so bad when I started this chat. Everyone was like, I hated it. I was like, oh.
Like I said, I started off thinking, what the hell is this? But I just got into it. After about 40 minutes, I was like, yeah, I'm jiving with this now.
I think I didn't finish it and think I actively disliked that film. I finished it and thought, like, I just didn't get it. But because that was on me almost, as like I feel like I'm missing some background knowledge, which means I don't realize what this film's about.
Yes, because there's the bit at the end as well with the little girl plugs herself into the dream machine, doesn't she? And she sort of like destroys the scientist's mind by like putting an infinite loop in his head. Like, do you remember that bit?
Yeah, I love that this is a sequel to Inception.
Yes. Honestly, this film walked so Inception could run. But yeah, I think that scene was strange. Like she kind of like fucked his brain up by replaying the same thing like on an infinite loop, and she was sort of aging. She became like an old woman.
Back into a kid, and she turns into an old lady. They like swap age.
It was very strange. That was quite cool. I think like the effects and stuff. I think the effects were quite strong in this film in general, actually.
Yeah, even like the 3D effects.
Yeah,
like
the flea was a bit
not bad. Yeah, but
the flea was fine. Yeah,
the hair, like the individual hair.
I know the hairs were freaking me out. I didn't like it.
When was this film made?
1995.
Oh, okay.
I was one. Oh,
I think that the worst effect was the green fog as it was moving around. But
I don't think
the
you
rest
can
of
say
it was
it's
fantastic.
like the worst effect when it's that old, because it does, like I said earlier, I think it does look quite timeless in some sense.
Yeah,
that's because it's so unique in its style.
Yeah,
I can mention the scene that confused me. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but it's spoiler zone. So it's when Crank falls through I think it's like he falls through the trap door, and then like the little girl, I'm going to keep forgetting her name, Crump?
Mia?
Yeah.
Crump, did you say?
Crump. I just keep thinking of crumpets.
I'm going to crump later.
Wait, do you mean when one fell through the...
So, one falls through the thing, and then like in the next scene, I swear like it just goes to her like walking, like it just cuts from him falling, and then in the next scene she's in like a different location of the place. What's it? Oil rig?
The oil rig, yeah.
And like I don't know, I just was like, she just felt totally over it already.
Mate, well, if you think about dreams, when you dream, you like there are just cuts where when you think back on it, you don't know how you got there, but at the moment it made perfect sense.
Maybe that's what it's meant to.
Maybe
but it just really jarred me. I was like, okay, it just felt like I'd literally missed a scene.
Also,
there was another place that happened as well in the film, and I can't remember because I watched it in 2 parts, and I think it was in the first part I watched it.
I don't remember it.
Fantastic actor as well.
All the kids
great.
were amazing.
She got nominated for an award for this.
Really?
Fair play to her. She was great. I think the all the actors really were spot on.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman, I think Hellboy is the only thing I've seen him in. Have I seen anything else?
Okay.
Well,
this is where we slowly did like uncover that I'm really bad at remembering actors and who they play.
He plays Hellboy, so
he's Hellboy.
Well, there we go.
So you wouldn't necessarily know that.
Alien Resurrection.
I haven't seen Resurrection.
Enemy at the Gates.
Oh, I hadn't seen that.
Isn't he in like some Vietnam War film?
Platoon? No.
He's in Sons of Anarchy.
Is he?
Oh yeah, he is. Speaking of Hellboy, I watched the reboot today.
Is it good?
Average.
No,
I've heard it was dog shit.
Terrible.
Yeah.
It just tried to be like Deadpool, where they do like jokes that kids will find funny with gratuitous violence, and it was just terrible.
That is the one with Hopper in, isn't it, from Stranger Things?
Don't mention that show.
I think he plays Hellboy.
Oh yeah.
The policeman, yeah.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
That makes me feel
it was just the script.
Oh
shit! That's a film I don't mind saying was terrible, and if you liked it, you were dead wrong.
Fair enough then.
There's definitely going to be a campaign against you, Joe.
Yeah,
bring it.
I don't
Honestly,
think so.
I'm backing Joe on that one.
Yeah, I've heard everyone say that film was shite.
I heard that he married Lily Allen the other week.
Oh, fair play.
Yeah, a bit random. Don't know where that came from.
I like Lily Allen as a person. She.
Do you know her?
Good. Yeah.
Oh,
Hang out all the time, mate.
No, she represents good things, I feel.
Yeah.
Her music's great too, so.
She's a strong, independent woman. She's doing like different shit now. She went into fashion designing for a while.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what she's doing now.
We're talking about Lily Allen. Like, this kind of sums up our feelings to the film, I feel.
We just want to like get off the topic as quick as possible.
I think it's quite hard to explain it.
I think that's fine though. I'm happy.
I think we've done our job. That people, if they want to go and watch it, they'll.
I feel like you will watch back you trying to explain the film, and maybe we'll need to retake that.
Jesus. Yeah, probably. Thanks, Dan.
So I think we've pretty much expended what we were going to talk about with this film. So what do we rate it? So first, Ryan, what's the rating scale?
So we're going to do it out of 3 poison-filled fleas.
Nice.
So I can't even say it. My THs and Fs are a nightmare. 3.
The fleas aren't filled with poison, Ryan. They put little injectors on their nozzle.
Oh yeah. Okay. So 3.
Oh, I'm surprised you were watching for that bit.
I've never seen Sam so offended.
No, I live for it.
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet.
I live for this shit. But no, yeah. Okay. So out of 3. Oh my god.
3 poison-filled fleas.
3 poisonous circus-trained fleas. I'd probably give it a 1.5.
Okay.
And I'll give it the ass end of 1 flea. 1 full flea. Oh no, that's quite assy actually.
Dan?
I'd say I could like maybe almost to a 2, because as much as I say I didn't enjoy it, I did feel like inspired by it afterwards in many aspects.
Mm-hmm.
And there's things I liked about it, but as a film I didn't enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Sam?
I'd say 2.25.
Fair play.
Poison-filled fleas that are circus trained.
I just said that drunk. Joe, what about you?
I think 1.5.
Yeah.
Because I loved some stuff about it, and the rest I didn't really feel anything for.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like I don't want to rate it because I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I didn't actively dislike it. I just kind of didn't. It didn't
make much of an impression on me afterwards. Yeah, I haven't taken it into my life.
But like Dan, like I was inspired by how it was just so unapologetically itself in what it was.
Oh yeah.
And I always am inspired by that with stuff where it's just like you can tell people who made this didn't really give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
And were just doing exactly what they wanted. And for that, I really, really appreciate it.
And I think if anyone's interested, there is a PlayStation 1 game of this film. I don't know when the PlayStation 1 came out, if it came out the year of 95.
I started playing it.
I've heard it's one of the worst games.
It wasn't very good.
I know.
You started playing it since you watched it?
Yeah. Because that was the thing. I said, like, I really like the world. So I was like, I read some things that the game was a bit shy. But, you know, I have a thing where, like, especially with PS1 games, because it's like, that is my era of gaming, I guess.
Oh, without a doubt. Like Harry Potter 1 was like the shit for me.
Exactly. Like, I thought I would take something away from it, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be, unfortunately. It would make a great point-and-click adventure game.
How did you get hold of it, Dan? Like, did you just like download a copy? I don't know how you do.
I'm not going to go into this on a.
I don't know how PS1 games work. It's like LimeWire shit. I don't know.
I bought it.
Yeah, I definitely downloaded it via LimeWire.
Oh, Christ. Say goodbye to your computer then.
I can't get rid of this dick on my screen.
Anytime I think of LimeWire, I just think of Outcast.
Why Outcast?
Because every time I open LimeWire, there's an Outcast advert.
I just think of me really trying to download a Gaga song, like
artist or.
And it's always Yeah by Usher. It's never what you wanted.
As it should be.
Although everyone wants Yeah by Usher.
It was never the 3-horse porn.
I mean, Yeah by Usher is the greatest song ever made by man. So.
Oh, we've had this conversation before, haven't we?
I actually haven't heard that song in a while.
I think I listen to it too much.
In the club with my homies.
I need to go clubbing. I miss it. I just want to go out to a bar and have a dance. Anyway, Dan, it's been beautiful having you for your first episode with us. Dan will now tell us what they have chosen.
I have
for next
chosen week a great film, I hope.
We don't know this yet, by the way.
No one knows what this
we're hearing this as you do.
I'll be hearing
told me already.
If any of you have heard of it. I've wanted to watch it for many a year. It's called Man Bites Dog.
Wait, I'm
going to look at your expressions.
Is this black and white?
Yes.
I have heard of it.
It's a 1992 film, and it's a black kind of crime mockumentary. I don't know how much I should explain.
None.
Okay,
Nothing.
That's what I'm going to go for.
I went into this blind, like all the others.
I've decided I'm never watching trailers beforehand, any of these. Because
same.
Yeah. I have watched the trailer for this, but that's because I've wanted to watch it for many a few years. So,
sure. Man Bites Dog.
I can read the French title, which I think it's also known as too. If you want to hear my great, C'est arrivé près de chez vous, which is.
Oh, I didn't know this was a Spanish-French film.
I was just about to say, I've never heard someone.
Be so Spanish.
This is why I didn't excel at languages.
Did you say cheveux though, like hair?
I'm gonna try again. C'est arrivé près de chez vous, which is it happened near your home.
Even Dan's webcam is embarrassed.
Cheveux.
Yeah, I'm not embarrassed.
No, you shouldn't be. That was beautiful.
You know, like I tried.
But cheveux means hair.
That's the important bit. Yeah.
That's what matters.
I'll have to look into this later. But yeah, cool. I'm looking forward to. So when will we be watching that film, and when will we be doing the podcast?
We will discuss that.
Okay, we can cut this out.
I think Ryan has done that at the end of every single podcast recording.
It's because it's been so long it's between each one that I forget things.
Adding that to my to-cut notes.
Fuck it. It's fine. It's raw.
We're doing it raw.
Like the film I've suggested.
Oh.
Well, we record, for those who listen, and this is the first time, we record and release these every other week. So that's when we will do it.
Cool.
All right.
I think that's it from me.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening to the Something Art Club. Please be sure to, if you are watching this on YouTube, go on to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter and follow our pages. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Podbean, make sure to go onto our socials. And if you want to see our faces, go onto our YouTube. It's all under the Something Art Club.
Lovely. And we do all have lovely faces, so
it's been beautiful.
You'll be missing it. Yeah. What can I say?